people start to realize our differences aren't as big as they seem.
I couldn't really understand the magnitude of what was going on.
I know a lot of people were affected.
You know, it's still that divide.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network and Wish TV, this is Our City, Our Voice.
You look a lot different at it.
Everybody was kind of spinning about what it was and what was happening.
Everything's changed.
Celebrating Women's History. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Celebrating Women's History. I'm Phil Sanchez.
And I'm Farron Franzak. This month, we join our community in a celebration of women's history.
Yeah, by creating compelling content throughout our newscast, lifestyle, and business shows, and across our digital platforms, we are providing powerful stories that reflect and honor some of the women making their mark in history.
And today we follow 5 inspiring women on their individual journeys, from a student on a mission to protect the world's water to a trailblazing McDonald's owner who's a role model making her mentors proud.
We meet an Air Force veteran and community leader bringing support to her sister soldiers. Plus, we talk with 2 international businesswomen whose resilience will amaze you.
All that and more coming up when our Celebrating Women's History special returns.
Celebrating Women's History. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company. Celebrating Women's History. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company.
Welcome back. We first met University High School student Vidatri Iyer in 2023. She was a freshman being honored for her impressive work in nanoplastic detection.
While still in high school, this aspiring physician, she's now being honored for her development of an app that actually predicts E. coli contamination in Indiana water streams.
After my whole nanoplastic project, I ended up going to the International Science Fair and winning a couple awards and ending up there, and that was a really great experience for me. It's one of the biggest science competitions in the US and in the world, actually. And then from there, I continued a little bit with my water research. So while I was working on my nanoplastics project, I realized one of the biggest problems plaguing our waters now is actually E. coli. And so E. coli, it's a very dangerous disease, especially when transmitted to humans, can create really illness, and there's been a couple deaths from it too. My project last year actually was about creating a mechanism and a method for actually looking for contamination of E. coli in our wastewater, in our streams, in Indiana's main streams. The app is called Streamy, with a capital E for E. coli, and basically what Streamy allows you to do is it's a little bit like a weather app. You're able to plug in a place you want, so Fall Creek, Eagle Creek, White River, and then you're able to look 15 days in the past and 15 days in the present for what the E. coli contamination was going on in that stream. And so this is really for viewers to help, especially during the summer months, for recreational activities, so people can start being protected about them and their kids when going tubing or diving, just spending time in the water. But it's also really useful for past researchers to look at this data and try to find E. coli trends to try to start and mitigate this E. coli presence in our wastewater streams. And then this year, currently, I'm working on a project about avian influenza, or otherwise known as bird flu. So bird flu has been kind of predicted to be the next COVID-19 pandemic. And so my project right now is kind of trying to bring government awareness about how avian flu can be predicted by wastewater, and that avian flu presence in wastewater can be a very good indicator for avian flu. And so we can stop breakouts and epidemics of avian flu occurring. I'm an avid swimmer. I love just being in the water every day, and especially in the summer. And so I was like, if this affects me, then it definitely affects a lot more other people. That is kind of the physician side of me, I guess, like just trying to solve problems before they become a huge problem. But also I look for areas where research hasn't really been done that often. E. coli in regular water hasn't really been done that much, and like nanoplastics, the only way to detect nanoplastics was by using a very big, expensive machine. And I just think water safety should be universal, and that everyone should have a chance to be able to have access and know what's in their water. I'm not exactly sure where I want to go for college yet, but I do know that I definitely want to continue in the STEM field, and especially like in environmental sciences. That's something I'm still going to be very passionate about. But I'm also leaning towards a little bit more of the physician, the medicine side, because health, safety, they all go hand in hand together. So I would love to be able to pursue something that would bridge those two interests of mine. I think it's very important for young people to be interested in advocacy, social issues and such. It's hard for people to get involved because they think they can't really do something. So I think just taking a small step forward is really the best thing you can do. Like if I had never reached out to Bob at Trico wastewater facility, I would never be where I am today. So just taking that first step, touring that facility, really led to this growth that's occurred, and that's the person I am here today. You never know where you're gonna end up, so always just like take that first little step and just do something you're a little bit passionate about, and it can really grow really fast.
Viratri's Stream E-App won the 2024 Congressional App Challenge in Indiana's 5th District, just one of many of her awards.
And impressing young history maker and one to watch. And coming up next, a local McDonald's owner-operator shares her journey. Stay with us.
Celebrating women's history. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company. Celebrating women's history. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company.
Welcome back. Valerie Silva is a McDonald's owner-operator who credits the help of mentors for her success.
And as she tells it, they helped her find her true self.
So I started when I was 16 in Chicago, and I worked my way up through the company. I graduated from DePaul University, and I was taking a major in accounting. And I wanted to be an accountant or a marketing director, I thought, my entire life. When I got to a point at McDonald's where I was really pursuing the accounting portion of my college, a very dear friend of mine, he said, I'm going to put you in the accounting center in Oak Brook so you can get a week of a trial basis to see how accounting really is. I was so excited for it. I went to Oak Brook. The first day before lunch, I said, this is not for me. I cannot crunch numbers. He said, you're a people person, and he was exactly right. He knew it before I did. So after that week was up, I just continued to work with the company, finished my degree, and then I continued to work in the company, accelerated in the company, met my husband. My husband is a retired police officer in Chicago, and I just thought I don't want him to be in these dangerous areas. All I knew was McDonald's. I knew it my whole life, and I loved it. So we talked it out one evening and said, I think we should become entrepreneurs and become McDonald's owner-operator. It's been a little bit different here in Indianapolis. We are in the metro area, so that gives us a little bit more exposure to be able to team up with schools, with churches, with community events. So the community here has embraced us as well, but I feel like we're more in tune with the community here. Being born and raised in Chicago, the connection of being in a city is just like being home again. Not only is she one of my very best friends since I was 16, but she also happens to be my sister-in-law. Carmen has taken me under her wing from a McDonald's standpoint. We both work for the company. We both have very similar roles in life that we took. But she's the person who I can bounce things off, and if I'm wrong, she'll tell me, I think you handled that wrong. And it takes a lot out of somebody that you love and respect and admire to actually give you that feedback. And she's really somebody who I confide in. She's more than a friend. She's more than a sister-in-law. She's someone that I admire. She's retired now, and I still call her for certain situations. She's just somebody who I would call my rock. She's another great woman that has also experienced the same thing that I did. The corporate ladder, successful operator, retired, and now she's enjoying her family and her grandchildren. So I owe a lot to Carmen DeCarrier. She's been a great, great friend and sister-in-law to me, and a mentor. So every day I wake up, I really do say, how am I going to make the brand shine today? What impact am I going to have? But I have two daughters in the business now. One is going to be 20, the other one is going to be 19, who just got accepted to Purdue. And both of them are working in the restaurant at the suburban location. And the happiness and the joy that they come home with, the stories they share with me daily, I think that's what makes me feel even more invigorated. And I say I'm not done yet. Like, I probably have 10 or 20 years left in me just to see it through their eyes. I am so proud of both of them. And I keep doing this not only for myself, for my husband, but the girls. I feel like I see them. I see myself in them when I was 16, 17, and vice versa. They're just been a joy to have part of our organization, our family.
Next, we meet this year's Mira Resilience Award winner.
Her journey and persistence will impress you. That's coming up on Celebrating Women's History.
Celebrating women's history. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company. Celebrating women's history. Brought to you by McDonald's, and Lilly, a medicine company.
Nida Ansari is this year's Mira Resilience Award winner. Born in the Middle East, she moved as a child to the U.S. 7 months before 9/11. It would take her 19 years to become a U.S. citizen.
Well, now an angel investor, her company, Karmic Partners, helps entrepreneurs grow their business.
It was extremely unexpected, an honor. I was humbled. There were 16 other nominees who had stories equal to mine. Everybody's got one. I think it was validating to a degree to know that the judging panel and whomever heard my story heard it. When the day I got it, I kind of said, I feel seen and I feel heard, and it's completely true. I think that's all what any of us wants. So at the basis of it, that's how I felt. To tell that story was really personal. And I mentioned earlier when we were talking that I haven't told that story before. I didn't tell that story at all. To a degree, I don't know if I felt like it wasn't relevant, but turns out that it is. It's a part and parcel of who I am. It's a huge part of my experience. It took me 19 years to become a citizen. We moved here February 2001, which was 7 months before 9/11. We moved here with a different plan in mind. At the time, you could become a citizen within a few years of having jobs and being productive members of the community. We also moved as a Pakistani family from the Middle East to right outside of DC. And so when 9/11 happened, it was, I'm 7 months in, I don't know what's happening. I hear and see it on the news, but I meaningfully don't know how it's going to affect our lives. Academically, my plan didn't change. I was a chemistry major, but I found myself in rooms talking about things that I didn't expect to be talking about. All I wanted to do was, I was here to go to school and get a job and do normal things, and I was being asked to represent myself in a way that I didn't know how. So I had an identity thrust on me in a way that I didn't ask for, but I also didn't know how to wear. And I think that's part of the reason why I haven't talked about it until recently, because I didn't. When you're an immigrant in that way, you kind of are coming here for a different life, and when you come here, you're like, all right, I'm here, let's go. You roll your sleeves up and you work. But when unexpectedly you're put into a room and asked to represent, or asked to lay low, or asked to be less or more of something that you didn't know you were to begin with, that becomes a different conversation. That becomes a formative period in your life in a way that no one asks for. Understanding that we can make a difference in small and big ways, helping people and connecting them to resources they need. And that connection is extremely important to be able to do that. But that ripple effect, that butterfly effect, it extends pretty far and wide when we think about geographies. If I'm able to pack a meal here that eventually gets distributed to somebody in South Sudan, the fact that I've helped in any measurable way, whether it's like putting a grain of rice into a bag, been able to put food on the table for a family in South Sudan or Yemen or Pakistan, there's nothing better, honestly.
When we come back, Wish TV community contributor Rupal Tanawala gives us insight into her journey from Bollywood to international change leader.
Find out her secrets to maintaining corporate balance when celebrating women's history returns.
Celebrating Women's History, brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company. Celebrating Women's History, brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company.
Rupal Tanawala is a CEO, community servant, change leader, and innovator on a global scale.
Yeah, she's busy. Her career has experienced almost constant change, but throughout it, she works hard to retain her core business values.
My very first paid job was as a TV anchor. I was only 13 years old. From that point onwards, I really got a bug. And I said, yeah, I can get in front of camera. At the age of 16, I got another opportunity to work on theater in Mumbai. And I worked there as a professional actress. But some of my mentors suggested that you're really good in academics and you should consider being an engineer. And sure, of course, I became a biomedical engineer. When I look at my career journey past 3-4 decades, it is not like a straight line, but it is really a very zigzag line. Once in my interview, somebody asked me where you want to be in 5 years. And I said, looking at the trajectory, please don't believe me, because I keep on reinventing myself, and I change my career paths every 3 to 5 years. And I cannot tell you where I want to be in 5 years. And I see that as one of my strengths, because I believe in taking up an opportunity with the time and the situation. I take time in actually developing new skills, going back to school, learning new traits, and then getting into the new direction. One of the strengths I have is people management, and I draw energy from people. I love to mentor young people. And when I'm looking around in my community, I see that there are so many young men, women, they need someone to show them the path that probably somebody showed me a few years back. And I think that is the best gift I can give it to people. And that's where I've been driving this International Women's Day for many years. And my public speaking engagements are also all geared around passing on my knowledge and sometimes even some of my mistakes that I have made along the path. I think the key to the success of my business is to ability to build relationships across the globe and able to hire people there and work with them in this virtual world is important. Many years back, I read a book called The World is Flat. The book really talks about is that the future is where everyone will be working globally with each other. And it is really important to respect the strength and the skills that everybody brings to the table, and how one and another can complement each other to make whether business or the world a better place.
A common thread in tonight's show is service, strength, and a commitment to helping make the world a better place, one community at a time.
Up next, we introduce you to a veteran and community leader whose light shines through her love of purpose. We'll be right back.
Celebrating Women's History, brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company. Celebrating Women's History, brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company.
Dr. Dorothy Simpson Taylor, better known as Dottie, has spent most of her life in service to others, originating from a strong family foundation.
Well, this Vietnam Air Force veteran employs grace and purpose as she fulfills her mission to support her Sister Warriors program.
So I'm the oldest of 11 kids, the second oldest grandchild of 110 first cousins. So you know I literally have thousands of relatives, and that is no joke. When I was growing up, I would have to take care of, at 5 years old, I know I was taking care of 9 kids, and I would tell them, children, I'm not getting you whooping. So I was prepared to take a leadership role from as a young person. I come from Waterloo, Iowa. I was born in Mississippi and raised in Waterloo. And watching my father and my mom would feed anybody, and Daddy just had such a gentle spirit about him that he just said, these are the ways that one be a human being. In order for people to be around you and feel comfortable and to emulate some of that just calmness in life, you have to demonstrate that first. You also have to be willing to participate with other people's lives and to enhance their lives, not by trying to be braggadocious or trying to manipulate. It's just that whenever they're going through something, all you have to do is say, it may not even need to say anything, but just to be there and to just participate and let them know that you're concerned and caring. And so I consider myself a very caring person because that's the way I was raised. I haven't swayed a long ways away from that. So the things that I do are just a matter of being a human being. And then I also do something called redemptive grace. I believe that everybody gets a second chance. That means me as well. Because sometimes I get in my own way, and then I say, okay, Daddy, you know, you could have done it a little different. You're not the worst person in the world, but you could do it different next time. So I have 19 years till I'm 100. And when I get to be 100, I'm gonna ask for 3 more just because I'm greedy. But the whole idea is that I have had my ups and downs. Life has had its ups and downs, and it ain't supposed to be no crystal stair, as I've said before. However, I must still be here for a reason. It doesn't have to be about me and my principles. It has to be about we and what we are going to do to be loving, caring human beings. I don't think that we get into a place or in conversations with people that say, I care often enough, or say, I hear you. As a therapist, I've told my clients before, it's okay to wallow on your face because there's a whole book in the Bible called Lamentations. You know, but every now and then, you need to turn over on your back so that you can see that there's air and breath up there, and maybe as your head turns up, you get on your elbows and you can see life a little differently.
And we want to thank all of the guests who shared their personal stories and hope you found them inspiring.
And you can see more Celebrating Women's History moments on our website, wishtv.com. For all of us at Wish TV, I'm Farron Franzak.
And I'm Phil Sanchez. Thank you for joining us.
Celebrating Women's History, brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company.
Discover more at wishtv.com, and when you follow Wish TV on Facebook, check out more podcasts from the All Indiana Podcast Network now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.